What is successful parenting? Let's talk about that. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about successful parenting. This video defines what successful parenting really is or isn't, and how to know if you're doing it right. So first, let's talk about what successful parenting is not. It's not perfection. I think a lot of people are hard on themselves, and if they feel like they're not perfect, that they're not being successful as a parent. Another thing that successful parenting is not is always pleasing to the children. There's a lot of people that think that if their children agree with their parenting, if they approve of their parenting, then they must be a successful parent. Our goal as parents should never be to have our children approve of our parenting. That's not our role. Our role is not to please our children. They are not controlling the parenting. Our role is to be teachers, to give them the instruction, the direction, the leadership that they need from parents. And so good parenting, really successful parenting, is parenting that provides direction, that gives the children and the youth the teaching that they need. Yes, we're supportive, we're kind, we're caring. We want to understand where they're coming from, of course, naturally, but ultimately we have to teach them and sometimes even require that they do things that might be difficult for them to do. But that's because that's our role. So we must maintain our roles to maintain good, successful parenting. When parents start seeking to be their child's friend instead of their child's parent, everything starts to fall apart. This book here, Popular Parenting Methods, actually talks about the 3 different styles of parenting that you might be utilizing and what traps to look out for in some of these different styles, which style of parenting is the most successful and why. So I highly recommend first reading this book, Popular Parenting Methods. I have tons of other books, especially this book, which is super beneficial, Parenting a House United. I've got the Roles book. I have children's books. I've got journals for recording things in the family. Lots of useful tools and tips. But if you could start with Popular Parenting Methods, especially the 2nd edition version of the book, you will actually be able to diagnose probably what's already going on in your parenting, and it will help you get prepared to learn the skills of self-government that you need. It will help you get on the same page with the person that you're co-parenting with as well. So let's talk about the core principles of long-term success. If we're going to be successful in our parenting, we can't just think about the short term. Because if you think about the short term, you'll think, I've got to feel perfect in every moment. Or you might think something like, they did something wrong, so that must mean I'm not successful. Parenting isn't about every single moment being perfect or having them respond just the way you want them to every single time. There's an element of patience, of long suffering and endurance actually in parenting, because when we're talking about being successful as a parent, we're talking about turning out a certain type of an adult, not a perfect child. Perfect children are not possible. It goes against the nature of being a child. When you're a child, you experiment, you explore, you try things, you rebel a little bit. Sometimes you're learning all of the time. But there is a type of an adult that is a functional, healthy adult that could be a gauge for whether you're being successful or not. Now, even then, they have their choice, okay? Everyone's got their choice. Sometimes they reach adulthood and they still off a cliff, and then they come back later, and we still have to have that patience and endurance mindset as we're supporting them through that. But that's a video for another day. What I'm saying right now is that really, if we're successful in our parenting, we're looking ahead to the type of adult that we know that they can become. In this book here, Parenting a House United, I talk about my goal that I had when I was bringing in troubled youth into my home as a foster parent and while I was raising my children. My goal was not to raise perfect children, but instead to raise joyful adults who knew what their mission in life was and couldn't wait to fight for it and had solid relationships with God and family. So this means that I needed to teach them how to succeed in the environment of our family. This was a proactive approach to parenting, which really is not utilized often enough by most parents. So if you've already subscribed to this channel, then you know I teach all kinds of skills and principles of self-government that will help you in your parenting communications with your children. They'll also help you be able to stay more calm and approachable in your parenting. These skills and principles of self-government are things that you can proactively teach your child ahead of time so that you can have a successful outlook on life. Now, when you are planning ahead for what type of outcome you want, you probably are thinking of a certain relationship that you would like to have with your child, right? We all want to have good relationships. We want to ultimately, when they are adults, be the best of friends. Don't go toward that best of friend thing when they're still adolescents or children in your home. Instead, allow for that to develop naturally as you both work on your roles together. So another book I have is called Roles: The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success. A lot of times our children don't know their roles. They know our roles. Sometimes we forget our roles because we're focused on their role as being a learner so much, and we want them to be pleased so much. And remember, that's not successful parenting. So instead, if we focus on our role as teacher, as well as other things, and their roles as well, then we can get on the same page with them with all of our parenting interactions. Then our parenting interactions can seem, every day. They don't have to seem negative or dramatic or somehow be traumatic just to go through parenting. Instead, they can be calm, commonplace, and end up increasing our ability to bond with our children. So that's right, you actually can feel closer to your children during and after a correction than you even did before. This is because a good correction is already known ahead of time. There's no surprises. It's completely predictable. When a parent is predictable like that, it actually helps the child be able to accept the corrections and bond with the parent during the time of correction as needed. So what do you do to create a really great correction? To do a great correction, what you do is you maintain your calmness. And when you know you're calm and ready, then you describe what happened. You describe why that wasn't a good idea. Describe what should have happened, utilizing the steps to the self-government skills that they already should know. Skills like following instructions, accepting no answers, accepting consequences, disagreeing appropriately. Each of those skills has steps to them. So you'll talk about which step they missed and what they should have focused on, and in the future what they should focus on. Then you're going to let them know what negative consequence they have earned. Now these should all be predetermined, so there's no surprises there as well, so that you don't slip into manipulating your children. They get the opportunity to accept that by using their skill of accepting consequences, and then they go ahead and follow through with that negative consequence, and you praise them for it afterward. In fact, you're going to also be praising them for some practice interactions that you're going to do as part of that really great proactive correction. So you should be praising your children about 4 or 5 times during a correction. This is how a correction doesn't have to feel negative. When you're that pre-planned in your parenting, you can be confident and they can be confident too. And that's what we want. So there is another video that goes into more detail about confidence and things that you can do to really become a successful parent. And that video is called, "What is the most successful parenting style?" Click on the link to that video next. And I also have a free gift for you in that video. I'll see you there.